This is how I instantly changed my end games around. I went from dying around top 50 in all of my stacked matches, where I'd be getting hardly any placement points, to getting consistent top 15s. Which, if you don't know, if you can get top 15 in all your solo cash cup matches, even if you don't get a single kill, you can still easily qualify with room to spare. But obviously, we're going to shoot above and beyond that, but that is just our goal. I'm going to walk you through some of my mistakes, what I did to change my game around, and my run-in with Peterbot, and we'll watch how he plays this end game in the match that we shared. So here we are in this first game, and I want you guys to tell me what you think I did wrong. One of the good things I do is get some storm surge damage, so I'm ready once I start to rotate. Although the thing that I believe I did wrong is not checking my surroundings enough. If I did, I would have realized that there was someone behind me chasing me down who did so much damage to me, he decided the best option was to push straight into my box. The next crucial mistake I realized when I was VOD reviewing this is I only make one box even though I know I'm getting chased down. What I need to be doing in this situation is making space, so if he does decide to nitro ram into my box, I have an escape route that isn't just open to the air for anyone else to shoot me. The biggest thing I need to work on is awareness. In this situation, I do a pretty good job at it. I'm in my cone scouting around me before I rotate to make sure that I don't get beamed from this person on height, from anyone behind me, so this was a really good job. Although one of the big blunders I did was not fully understanding the use of nitro and fizz together. After this game and before making this video, I did my research to figure out that a fizz tap only lasts 10 seconds while nitro lasts 20 seconds. So I've been constantly popping my fizz first when really I should be popping my nitro first because it lasts longer. Because I was oblivious to this timing, I got stuck in the canyon and had to box up and then re-fizz up. And honestly, now I kind of started to panic. I thought my rotation was ruined, so I wasn't really paying attention. I go to the backside zone, which wasn't necessarily a bad move, but I just get lost in the sauce. People are pressuring me backside shooting, I'm trying to tarp forward super fast, and I don't realize that this guy is directly in front of me. Learning from last game, my awareness was pretty good in the cones and before my rotate, but actually on my rotation, I just lost all focus. The next game, I didn't want to go insane. The definition of going crazy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something to change. So I switched up my loadout to be the DMR and the Gatekeeper shotgun this time instead of the combat and the pump. And finally, something started to click. With this thermal scope, I was able to see this guy for what was going to be storm surge damage, but just turned into a kill. Storm started pressuring me, so I nitroed up and started to move towards safe zone. I get shot in the back a couple times and then try to base up, but get killed by somebody else third-partying me and looking down. And originally when I died, my mindset was just, man, that's an unlucky play. That's unfortunate that he was there and looking at me. But when I went to VOD review this, that mindset went away completely. This game was one of those moments where you learn it the hard way. I thought I was being observant by looking out of my cone and seeing what was around me, that I didn't realize that someone could have been in my own box. Yes, I didn't realize that right under this cone that I was standing on, there was another person medding up and just waiting for me to rotate. And of course, when I did rotate, that's the person who shot me immediately and chased me all the way down, getting me down to about the 10 health before that last guy third-partied and killed me. So even though I died to this guy on the hill, the person that was camping underneath my box was definitely my downfall this game, so I need to be more observant. But I'm honestly happy this happened to me because now I'm going to be looking for this every time I play a game. Okay, now let's get into the top 15 games where I actually placed pretty high. So while I did like using the DMR, I still think this combat AR, especially with the thermal scope, is super good because you can shred through builds. If someone's not facing you, you can get a ton of storm surge damage before they even realize you broke their wall. Now, it's not always a good idea to rotate this late and in storm, but I decided to do it because I kept dying earlier with people coming up behind me and shooting me. So this time, I made sure I was the last person to rotate so no one was behind me. In this game, I actually have the luxury of doing this because I was carrying medkits with me, which I wasn't doing before. My scouting and rotations have gotten abundantly better since those first couple games that I was playing. I'm scouting before I'm running, and these rotates are much safer. I'm rotating along the side of zone as well as pausing midway through just to make sure I'm completely safe. There's no reason to straight shot it the entire way without building a single time. I was struggling with that concept earlier because I didn't want to waste mats on a base that I wouldn't be in for very long, or waste mats on walls that wouldn't protect me for very long. But in endgame, saving your health is so much more important than saving your mats. You can always get a mat refresh, but it's hard to find meds in endgame. The one thing I do really well though throughout the entire course of this video is getting my storm surge damage. I'm almost never underneath in these games, so it's super nice when you can get that damage early on so you don't need to worry about it later. So the next zone didn't pull too far, so I only had to rotate a couple tiles over and rebox up. But the thing is, I'm on a ground layer, and this is not the ideal place to be. Remember a couple games ago when I was stuck on the backside of zone with someone pressuring me in the front and I just tarped into him and died? Well, I'm put in a very similar situation right here with someone in front of me, but this time I learned from my mistake. I realized that it's more clear if I go up and rotate alongside a zone, and now I have a huge height advantage to avoid the congestion down below. I pop fizz and drop down below, which is something that I've needed to get used to. I used to always jump, but falling is way better because you don't get in front of those people on height. Like I said, I'm not afraid to box up halfway through and just calm down, maybe pop some more fizz and get going again. Right here, I'm thinking about boxing up on low ground, but I keep going height and I do not want to be stuck on a low layer again. Again, going into storm isn't always good, but you usually do end up behind people, and that's critical when you need a refresh. And just like that, I shot this guy and was able to get a few more mats to extend my game just a little bit longer. One of the biggest lessons I learned while practicing in scrims and practicing in zone wars is never fight someone if they are in your box. In the case that you get a stare between them, a lot of people would edit that and go for a shot instantly, but that's a 50-50 and you'll get killed half the time. So if you can, edit at the top or side and just keep moving. Now, it's at this point that I didn't realize how little mats that I had. If I was paying attention more, there was a couple easy refreshes that I probably could have got. I fizz up and drop down into zone, which was a pretty good rotate, although I didn't have enough mats to fully box up and cover myself. So I die with the 12th place, but if this is any sort of cash cup, I'm taking that because if I can repeat that a couple games in a row, I'm qualifying. I always say I prefer to die with 0 mats than to die with hundreds because that means I actually fully utilize my resources, although that doesn't mean there isn't room for improvement. Upon VOD reviewing, I saw that this box below me had just had a freshly built roof that I could have easily phased through while spraying down. This likely would have surprised the guy and I could have got another refresh and kept my game going. Okay, so this next game, unbeknownst to me, I'm in the lobby with Agent Peterbot, the FNCS winner, the Michael Jordan of Fortnite. Many people claim he's cheating, but he won FNCS with over 1,000 points, and he's in my game and I have an encounter with him. Although before then, Storm Surge pops up and I need to get some damage while someone is attacking me from behind. I initially was just boxed up in a 1x1, which I extended to a 2x2, but I said, you know what, we need to get some more height. I need to switch layers and get away from this guy. I create a diagonal stair tarp, which is really underrated for getting Storm Surge because you can look out from your stair, but I am able to pick up a kill and get my Storm Surge damage up. This is one of my proudest rotations. If you don't know about this strategy, you need to. Pop a little fizz and start ramping up so you can avoid the ground rotation. In bonus, if you have the green skulls too, because you can totally avoid the floor. There's no reason to be on the congested floor when there's a lot of angles where you can be shot from. By doing this strategy, I have a halfway point between two of these surge bases, and then the final time, once I'm actually on the floor, I can make another halfway point. And by doing so, I've had multiple breaks, but only spent the mats for one box. I keep this rotation strategy up and get into next zone and base up in full metal with 2 boxes. I know I'm gonna need a refresh soon, so I'm looking back behind me to see if I can get a chip kill or if someone's gonna run beneath me. Unfortunately, no one does this, and unbeknownst to me, Peterbot is looking at my box this whole time. He starts spraying at me and gets a couple tags in, but lays off for enough time where I can get my big pot off, and then he starts spraying again once there's zone pressure. And it's the simplest trick in the book, but by not rebuilding my roof and wall and pretending I'm not there, Peterbot doesn't full key me. Which, that's what he was doing the entire game. Sorry for the replay lag, but he is going in, being an absolute demon on these guys' boxes. Popping nitro, running through them, and just cleaning up, honestly. I waited for Peter and the other people in the lobby to rotate first so I could come in behind and base up in metal, which was almost really good until I got coned from underneath and chopped out. Now, I thought my game was going to be over here, but luckily I was able to crawl out and rebuild before starting my reload. During this time, Peterbot has taken high ground and is just spraying down on the lobby. This was honestly the most educational part of going back and watching this VOD and seeing what he did, because I know now when he starts to plan to take height. It is zone 9 and he's not full planning on winning right now, he's just looking to get a better grip on the lobby. Because once he needs more mats or thinks he can get a kill, he drops down and goes for it. He's not able to get that one, so he backs up and rotates around dead side where this brick is already built. And this makes me feel pretty confident about my gameplay and my Fortnite IQ and IGL intelligence because I rotated through the same route. Although I am running abysmally low on mats, and to make matters worse, I start getting sprayed at right in the middle, so I sort of have to make a midway box point. Thank God I'm able to get around this mountain, which is a great dead side rotate, but it doesn't matter since I only have 3 builds left. I die while reloading, and of course I can't build a wall or anything since I'm out of mats, and I go down at number 13. But hey, that's pretty good, and I know I did need to go for more refreshes to get more mats, but I did try to do that earlier. I just knew it was an uphill battle getting around this mountain, so it didn't quite work out. And Peter just continued to tear through the lobby. If I had any doubts that it was a fake, somebody using special characters in their name, this settled it. He was ripping through kids. Unfortunately, I didn't see if he win because the replay file cuts out when I leave the game, but it was still so good to learn this much from him. I really like this style of vid where I can break down my mistakes at a high level and can improve, and all of you guys can learn from my blunders. If you agree, please drop a like and invest in the channel. We are in the final stretch to 20k, so this is your chance to hop in early. Similarly, to help me out, please use code reidtheninja in the item shop, or just another small creator's code to help out the little guy. And of course, Peter's code too. If you want to learn how to survive these mega sweats in ranked and in tourneys, this is the trick to defending against them. And hey, you might even learn how to put down a guy like FNCS champion Peterbot. Thank you so much for watching, and on that note, I am signing off.